Hello, my friends. Today we are starting with a very interesting statement from Trump. I will try to stop the war in Ukraine if I can, Trump said in an interview with NBC News. I'm not obligated to keep the US in NATO. The condition for this is if they pay their bills absolutely, Trump said about the possibility of the US leaving NATO. Trump also plans to deport millions of illegal immigrants and wants to end birthright citizenship. I don't want to break up families. The only way not to break up families is to keep them together and send them all back, he stated. On September 7, Trump said, I'll end the war in 24 hours after I win. Now, on December 8, he says, I'll end it if I can. It seems this shift might have come because Zelensky didn't immediately agree to all of Trump's conditions. Meanwhile, Putin, of course, continues his efforts to seize as much territory as possible at any cost. In recent days and weeks, he has also ramped up attacks on Ukraine, aiming to cause as much damage as possible since he hasn't fully achieved his goals. Reports suggest that a strike on western Ukraine is highly likely this week. Perhaps with these strikes, Putin is trying to secure more favorable conditions for a ceasefire. So, the closer we get to the end of the war, the more difficult the situation will become. Even the US embassy in Ukraine has issued a warning about an increased threat of Russian missile and drone strikes across the country. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Russian forces are maintaining maximum activity. So, let's summarize last week's developments. Reports indicate that over the past 7 days, Russian troops have managed to seize an additional 186 square kilometers of Ukrainian land. Their advance continues as they aim to capture key settlements before any potential ceasefire. Today, heavy fighting is ongoing near Chasiv Yar, where Russian forces continue their assaults but haven't achieved any new successes. There are even reports that Ukrainian forces have managed to push the Russians back from some positions, though a significant overall retreat of Russian forces has yet to occur. Similarly, battles persist around Stupochky as Russian troops attempt to break through the fields toward Myrnohrad and Velyka. The situation remains extremely difficult, but for now, the Ukrainian forces continue to hold their defense. In the Toretsk direction, Russian forces continue attempts to break through into the city, but the Ukrainian forces are managing to hold them back. Over the past day, no new changes have been reported. Battles are also ongoing near Nilipivka, but the situation there remains unchanged. In the Pokrovsk direction, Russian troops are pushing toward the outskirts of Myrnohrad, trying to secure positions there. Intense fighting is also taking place for the villages of Promeny, Lysivka, Dachinske, Shevchenka, Novotroitske, and around the village of Zhovte, where Russian forces are attempting to expand their controlled territory while also storming Pushkine. Despite the critically difficult situation, no new advancements have been confirmed over the past 24 hours. Furthermore, reports of Russian forces capturing Shevchenka remain unverified by the Ukrainian side. In the Kurakhove direction, Russian forces are intensifying shelling and launching assaults from all sides in an attempt to push Ukrainian forces out of the area and align the front line. It's evident they aim to advance toward the Dnipropetrovsk region, and concerns persist regarding the state of defensive fortifications. Reports from the Frontline highlight significant shortcomings. Not sure about elsewhere, but beyond Pokrovsk toward Pavlograd, the defensive line hasn't moved an inch in 3 months. All they've done is dig 50-meter trenches in 5 tree lines, purely for show. You can see the boats for covering just lying around. Who's going to inspect this so-called powerful defense line? This statement prompted a response from Mykola Lukashuk. In light of recent statements about Dnipropetrovsk defenses, I urge everyone to calm down. Do you really think the military should publicly show maps of where and what fortifications have been built? This is classified information during wartime. The construction of fortifications around the region is ongoing and has been for a while. It's under the responsibility of the Ministry of Defense and military leadership in coordination with local authorities. Spreading panic will not help us now. However, a Ukrainian armed forces soldier replied critically. Dear Mykola, I can't show where fortifications have been built, as that would reveal secrets, but I can show where nothing has been built, because there is nothing to reveal. Get off your backside and drive toward the Donetsk border to see for yourself. You'll find one anti-tank ditch in the middle of a field and 1,000 dragon's teeth scattered about. So, following this heated exchange, Lukashuk deleted his message, at least from Telegram. The discussion about fortifications resurfaces frequently. Authorities claim defenses are being built. Yet, when Russian forces reach these lines, significant flaws are revealed. Ukrainian armed forces soldiers consistently raise concerns, while others speculate about deliberate neglect. Osman, you don't get it. Maybe they left the vital highway from Pokrovsk to Dnipro unfortified on purpose, so the bastards can just march their columns straight to Dnipro. Clowns. So you can see the overall situation remains tense as Russian forces advance rapidly, leaving only a few kilometers between them and the Dnipropetrovsk region. In the Velyka Novosilka direction, Russian forces are assaulting the city and the village of Neskuchne, pushing toward Novodaryevka. They are also attempting to expand control near Novosilka and are now trying to advance toward Temerivka. The situation remains extremely difficult, but there have been no confirmed Russian advances in the past 24 hours. In the Kherson direction, Russian forces continue their attempts to break through onto the islands, but they have made no progress and the front line remains unchanged. Now moving to the Siversk direction, where Russian forces are conducting shelling and assaults on the Serebryanka forest. However, there have been no changes here as the Ukrainian armed forces continue to repel all attacks. In the Lyman direction, Russian forces are also actively storming Zarychne, Terne, and Yampolivka. As I've mentioned many times before, there have been no changes here for over a month, and Ukrainian forces are holding back all attacks. In the Borova direction, battles are ongoing for Nova Krugliakivka, with assaults on Lozova, Zeleny High, and Kopanke. Further south, fighting continues for Chernyshina as Russian forces attempt to advance toward Novosergiyevka, also storming Druzhelyubivka and Grekivka, while offensive actions are observed in the fields near Makivka. However, there have been no confirmed changes in the past day. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian forces are still attempting to break through to Zapadne and continue their challenge. Through the south, battles persist around Kolesnikivka and Glushkivka, but the situation remains unchanged. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian forces have temporarily halted all attacks and the intensity of shelling has slightly decreased. However, battles in Vovchansk continue where Ukrainian forces are successfully repelling all assaults, keeping their front line unchanged. In the Kursk direction, Russian forces have failed to achieve any success and have currently paused their counteroffensive. It's possible they are regrouping and pulling up reserves, but the front line has remained completely stable over the past week. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.